So what the Buddhist approach is to view death in even a more comprehensive way, which is really death is the bigger envelope around death is impermanence, that things end. Not just you, everything ends. So that's a part of our experience. We're much more comfortable usually working with our part of our experience where we can attach to something as beginning or underway or in the middle of the experience. But when it ends, we go like, I have nothing to hold on to anymore. And even if it's the end of a meal, a positive, a pleasant meal, or the end of a love affair, or the end of a tour, all of a sudden, impermanence throws us into a relationship to things that's quite different. And we can't control it. So the impermanence probably is the most profound teaching of all the teachings. I think even an advanced practitioner could try to refabricate impermanence to mean I can make that work for me somehow. I can be a wise person or be part of a wisdom tradition. But the actual experience of impermanence is completely potent. And you could say, well, it teaches you to let go, but that's like a solution. You already let go. It's over. You just have to go home now. So there's not so much manipulation happening when you face impermanence. There's a sense of more surrender, opening, yielding. And the Buddhist view is that each moment there's impermanence riddling our experience. Things are ending. That's the microcosmic view. And the sort of Buddhist way of saying it is, that which is brought together by causes and conditions is subject to impermanence, right? So if it's brought together by causes and conditions, it will inevitably come apart. All composite phenomena. So if we look at our body, it's certainly brought together by causes and conditions. The sperm from the father, the egg from the mother, the DNA, the cellular thing, the nurturing that happens along the way. And if we can sort of tune into our mind that way, not just the physical world, but even mental events that we think are a big deal, relationships or philosophy, all of it's subject to impermanence. So the way we understand death is by looking at the little deaths that happen all throughout the day and the night. Like the end of a day, you go to sleep. That's the end of that day. That day died. What's today? August 18th. So August 17th is dead. The clothes you just threw away, they're dead. The glass prescription that no longer suits you, those glasses are dead. So always tuning into the possibility of moving forward. Then, of course, you get into the interesting question of what is moving forward. And we do say in Buddhism that there's a kind of aspect of mind that moves forward. It's kind of considered a stream or what would be the right word for it? Thread or continuity of a certain aspect of consciousness that is more subtle, you could say, than the gross manifestations of it. And that thread goes right through the body dying, when we breathe our last breath and, you're looking at this person, that there's a subtle aspect of the consciousness that is not dependent on those causes and conditions of that body being intact. That it's a warehouse, a storehouse of subtle seeds and imprints in that person's consciousness, and that it also has a sort of fundamental nature that's kind of, you could say, clear and open and unobstructed, which you could call Buddha nature. But it's not a thing, right? So that continues on, and depending on what the habituation is, what the seeds there are, karmic seeds there are, they'll ripen into the form of another birth, another situation. So that's the macro view. And the micro view is that happens every morning when we wake up in the morning. The last day is over, and we go, well, who am I today? Well, you're sort of like the guy yesterday, but not exactly. Does that answer your question?